Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. I talked to our next guest probably like a year and a half ago because I had just finished doing a complete binge of Real World Las Vegas, which is a seminal season of reality television. I think a lot of people got into reality television because of Real World. They became fans because of like the Real World, and especially this season of the show was off the hook. I got to talk to her a year and a half ago, and I had the best time. And the coolest thing is that she was like watching all the same shows we watch, following all the stuff that we follow. I mean, really awesome. And then right after that, she wound up on the Traitors season 2 on Peacock, which was an amazing season of competition reality show. I mean, you cannot get better than last season of the Traitors. So she is nice enough to come here today and talk some pop culture, and we'll talk about her experience as well. But the one, the only, the legend, Trishelle Cannatella, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to talk about pop culture.
It really is. Well, just to inform people too, is that you're not just a reality star. Like, you are a poker player. Like, you win at poker. You do that. You seem like you're always around New Orleans, going to every event imaginable.
Yeah.
How would you describe your life in the last 10 years pre getting back on TV with the Traitors?
Wow. Okay. So pre getting back on TV, my husband's a pilot, so we travel a lot. And so I just kind of like to document my travels, and people are like, oh, you should do like a travel page. I don't know. It seems like a lot. But anyway, like I'm fortunate enough to get to do all this stuff, and it's really fun. But in New Orleans, I'm very involved in the city. I do a lot of charity work. I sit on boards, committees, things like that. I love, love, love living in New Orleans. It's diverse. It's fun. There's so much to do here. And so I kind of feel like I'm, like the biggest cheerleader ever of my city. And so I like to be involved over here. And yeah. Also we have like investment properties that I run and manage. And
oh my God, you have too much. Like, God, I just have a podcast. You have like 8 billion things. Well, I bring up the poker too, because I was on your Instagram and I think you were just in a poker tournament, I don't know, this week with Shannon Elizabeth. Is that her name? She was in American Pie. I remember that. Like, what is it with like, you kind of like celebrities being poker players? Because Jennifer Tilly is an amazing poker player as well. And she's going to be a friend of on this next season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Why do you think reality TV stars kind of like are great poker players?
So they do a lot of charity poker tournaments with reality people. And so that's, I think, how people get started. And then they get the poker bug. It's like, whoa, like you can actually win real money and have fun. I think card games are fun. I've been playing cards since with my grandma when I was little. So I love it. But Jennifer Tilly, I met her through poker, and she is lovely. She's quirky. She's fun. She's smart as a whip. I'm so excited to see her on Beverly Hills Housewives. I know that her and Sutton are very close, which makes sense, actually. But yeah, I was just in Vegas. I got home on 4th of July. I cashed one World Series of Poker event, and I think I did okay. It's fine.
What did you do? What did you win?
It was like an online bracelet event. So it was a WSOP bracelet event, but it was the 500 buy-in. It was I men cashed it. So it's all right. I didn't lose everything. I was only down a little bit when I came back, so I'm fine with that.
Well, I mean, Jennifer Tilly, obviously, like you said, friends with Sutton, and I think that's going to be an interesting relationship. But also, I mean, just in terms of, I was thinking about poker playing and you and Traitors and how intensely you played the game, which is so funny because you got that season of Traitors then I went and watched like the UK Traitors, the Australian Traitors, and I got so into it because the gameplay on those shows was like, it was elevated compared to like season 2. And you brought that gameplay, like and do you think like you having a poker player's mind, do you think that feeds into your gameplay on that season?
100%. I have, a little bit more of a strategy thinker mind. And a lot of people just didn't know that because, in MTV, it's all about like buff and brawn and things like this, or getting drunk and making out with chicks in a hot tub. Like I did all those things, but,
been there, done that, been there, done that. Yeah.
I think that people really forget that I am 44 years old now. And my first show, I was 22. I was a child, a baby. And yeah, like a lot of people are change in 22 years. And so you didn't see much of my intelligence on the first shows. People didn't really like me on the Traitors because I was smart. And I think that a lot of women especially don't like another smart woman. Like they're really haters.
Well, Trishelle, that's what I mean. It was interesting watching that season and then also the feedback of that season.
Oh, yeah.
Because like it was so interesting. If you think about that season of Real World Las Vegas, you got unfairly kind of shit on, like you were this 22-year-old girl, but people were like saying like wild things about you back then. And I remember you talking about this, but then like you cut to the Traitors 22 years later.
They're still doing it.
Well, they're still doing it, but what's so interesting is that, like, sometimes you can take like there's a note that actually works, or even like you were talking on Watch What Happens Live, you had actually went to unconscious bias training and things like this. But you took a note and you were like, this is how I can improve myself. But some of the other things, like I would argue that CT, you had so many more reasons for the audience to be mad at CT, and CT kind of like just skirts by, yet you had like the majority of the critical comments. How does that feel? I mean, not only as a reality star, but as a woman.
98% of the comments that I get that are negative are from women that say, I love Jesus and my kids in their profile. And I mean, it's just crazy. These women are just insane. No woman is going to go to CT's page and be like, oh, I couldn't stand you, but they hate me. Like, but I look at it for what it is. Like, I think it's a lot of jealousy. It's a lot of like, they wish that they were able to do some of the things I do, whatever, it's fine. But, women hating on women has always existed, and it's even gotten even worse recently, I think. So, yeah, the guys always get away. Johnny Bananas and the CTs always rise. They always come out on top. And we always get shit on, especially the smarter you are, the worse you are.
Well, that's what I found it so interesting is that people like that, like might have not seen you since Real World. All of a sudden you pop up on Traitors and you're like making plays. You are taking the game seriously. You are
Every decision I made in that game was to win. And I did.
Well, and also, if you want to, I mean, for me, and I guess I felt very attached to the show, but I still found real beauty in that you and CT winning. I thought it was interesting because of the relationship you guys had in the past. And so I was kind of in love with that, even though I love Mercedes, but Mercedes made a great reality show clip in the fact that she really took it personal. Like you want to believe that you're watching these shows and these are real and people really get like fall in love, get angry, get upset. And Mercedes just couldn't get past it in that moment. Have you talked to Mercedes since?
I did. I recently saw her because we did the TV Critics Choice Awards, and I saw her, and she's still upset. She's still hurt. I think she's more hurt by CT now because now that she's seen everything for what it is, she's just like, CT had more loyalty to her than I did. And then I also told her that I did trust her and I didn't think that she was a traitor. And that's why I voted for CT first, which I think a lot of people watching just didn't really understand that move because I didn't explain it. The reason that I didn't explain it is because I didn't want to let the producers know what I was going to do because I didn't want anything to be twisted against me in a game. I wanted to have the control, and I did, and it worked out. But it could not have, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, but you were also thinking like 5 steps ahead. Like that's what you were thinking about producers. You were thinking about this, but Mercedes, I mean, like, but that's part of the reason why we love the show too, is that she took that moment so personally and it was so real to her. Going into like, how were you approached to get into the Traitors? A lot of people say like, okay, they're picking from reality stars of all different genres. How and when were you first approached? Did you have to audition or did they just interview you? How does it work?
So I knew that my name was kind of thrown around for the second season. And I was like, I had already seen the first season and I'm a huge Sari fan. And I was like, so happy that she won. And I thought she's pretty brilliant. And so I was interviewed. I did a couple of interviews and their mind wasn't made up at first, but then they gave me the official offer. So I don't really even know how my name was thrown in. So I just got lucky, I guess. And I think they liked what I had to say. I talked a lot about poker and strategy and things like that.
It truly was an amazing season. And now the third season has already filmed. I was talking to Bergie on Friday and he loves you. He keeps in touch with you, he says. And you guys actually just hung out also with another cast member of Traitors Season 3 from Survivor, Carolyn.
Oh, that was Janelle. That was Janelle, not me. Yeah, but...
No, Janelle. But wasn't Carolyn from Survivor there as well?
Yeah, she was.
but she's in Traitors season 3, and so I thought that was so interesting to see all of you guys together. Did you have any opinion when the cast list went out for Traitors season 3 of who they chose?
It's so funny because in my mind, I'm like, Tom Sandoval, like they need to get rid of him first. But
No.
that he's a perfect person to keep in the game because people just hate him so much. And there's going to be someone always that they hate more than you. So maybe he'll get murdered before you. So that's the kind of person you want to keep in the game. I think I'm excited to see Dorinda. I think she might be, hopefully that season's Phaedra with, I just think the housewives are brilliant on television. I think that they always give good one-liners. They always bring it. So I'm excited to see her. Brittany Haynes from Big Brother. There's just like a lot of people. I'm just like, yeah, it'll be good.
So if you were in there in season 3, you would do your best to keep Sandoval in. I want to keep Sandoval in the game just because he says idiotic things and it's really funny.
Yeah.
So I think he's a good character, but you would keep him in because it would actually strengthen your game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you want to stay as long as possible. That's the goal.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the Traitors, when you pull from reality show stars that do not do their homework, a lot of them don't realize the gameplay that goes into this. And I think that was where your strength was, is that you realize the gameplay that goes in. So, yeah. I mean, it could be easy picking with some of these that are not like Survivor, Big Brother contestants.
You want to make someone else the target more than you, but if you feel like you are the target, you blow up whoever you think the traitors are at roundtable so that it's harder for them to murder you. There's just like a very fine line you have to skate, and I thought about it every single second that I was there.
But see, I love that you were so into it. Like, we need your journal. We need your Traitors journal to go through. That's like Smithsonian stuff. That's like my reality show museum. Was it fun actually being on a show of this kind of prestige level? Not only once you did it, but once afterwards, we like more and more people watched it every week. It was appointment television. It became my favorite show to watch. And after Real World, and I know you've been on other reality shows along the way for little like appearances and stuff. What was it like to be on a show that everybody was talking about again?
Well, whenever you're there, you don't know. I'm just like, wow, to me personally, this is the best TV show that I've done, just production wise, and the people that were there. I had so much fun with everyone. And even if you see people fighting at the round table or kind of like not liking each other, we all really got along and liked each other, right?
Yeah.
And so, but after seeing the reception of the show, I was like, whoa, I was completely shocked. And it just feels really good because I'm like, I can say that I was on the #1 streaming show out of all the streaming services. And so it felt so scripted and unscripted. It was just insane.
I mean, this could win an Emmy. They put so much money into actually, even still, like you said, you're doing events like to actually put the Traitors out there. And I think that's what's really amazing, is that it shows reality shows deserve to be respected, which is what we've shouted all along for these like past couple of decades. The other thing about the Traitors, we noticed Sierra from Summer House is part of the cast. Now,
I love her.
I love her too. And I think this is actually going to be really interesting to see her in this format. Yeah. But, there was a little bit of, we don't really know, because Lindsay Hubbard potentially had been on the Traitors season 3. And then there was this rumor that Dorinda outed her as being pregnant. Now, Dorinda, like a source says that's not true. And then Lindsay says that's very sad and disappointing. But then Kate Chastain jumped into the mix, who's on Traitors season 1 and 2 and Below Deck, and said, hey, Dorinda, it doesn't matter if she would have said it, they would have found out anyways, because they do a full physical. And also, if you're pregnant, would you want to be doing these challenges anyways?
No.
Did you agree with what Kate said about that?
100%. They would have found out. They make you go through the whole testing. I mean, everything. And some of those challenges are really physically hard. Yeah. Like one of them lasted like an entire half of a day, like almost more than half a day, actually. I mean, you're just like hauling things. It was like really brutal. You have to be in shape. So you definitely don't want somebody who knows that they're pregnant to go on there and something happen.
No, I mean, I agree with that, but then I'm just so curious what happened with why Lindsay thinks Dorinda put this out there. It's like, I love that the Housewives and Bravo people can never stop being Bravo and Housewives people for 1 minute. Like, even when the cameras aren't rolling, the drama is still going on.
I guess like media outlets put that out there, and then Lindsay probably, obviously saw it and was just like, well, that's really shitty. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't matter. Just exactly what Kate said. I 100% agree with her. It would not matter either way because Lindsay wouldn't have been cast being pregnant.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
And also, like, yeah, you said, like, you're in
Also,
wetsuits
you're
jumping
in
around.
the middle of nowhere in Inverness. You want to be near a hospital in case something happens. Like, that's not the place.
Yeah. I would have a hard time just putting on that wetsuit. I mean,
Oh,
geez.
yeah.
So Summer House, big news happened this week because Lindsay Hubbard, star of the last 8 seasons of Summer House, on the 4th of July announced that she is pregnant. And it was a clear blue, like, a sponsored post, get your money. I loved it. And then allegedly, like, Summer House is filming right now this weekend. So she was announced as coming back to the Summer House. Now, you watch Summer House, right, Trishelle?
Yes, I do.
Are you excited to have Lindsay back in the house? Carl's going to be there. And would you do this if you were I mean, because I think we're all worried of, like, don't get activated, Lindsay. What is your take on this?
I think I would. I would like to flaunt my cute baby bump in front of Carl with my hot new boyfriend or whatever. Like, I mean, look, I don't even know what Lindsay's boyfriend looks like, but I'm sure he's attractive. Look at her. She's gorgeous. I would 100% do it. She's going to make her paycheck, and I'm proud of her for it. And it's just going to be interesting. But you know what? With the hormones, she's going to get activated.
Well, what if it like cancels each other out? What if the hormones and the actual activation cancel and she's just peaceful in her peaceful bubble and Kyle tries to upset her, but it doesn't? But I guess I think it's just funny is that Summer House is this, all young, hot people in a Hamptons timeshare. But the funny thing is, when this show has been on so many seasons, they're growing up. Like, this is the natural progression of life. And so I'm just so curious how they work the pregnancy in there, especially coming off of last season. But I guess we'll see. I just hope she doesn't get too stressed. And do you think Carl will be more like, do you think Carl will, I think Carl will be genuinely happy for Lindsay and kind of almost like, that's a weight off my shoulders. She's happy.
I think that he has seen all the, I don't know. There's been some backlash, I think, with him. I did watch What Happens Live with him.
Oh yeah, you were on there with.
I'm not a fan.
I thought you actually that's coming back to me now. You actually kind of held him to the. You said you were Team Lindsay, I believe.
Yeah, I did, and I am.
No, I love that. But you know what's so funny about Lindsay, and we were just talking about this with you a second ago, is that there is so much. I mean, Lindsay has such a huge fan base, but at the same time, there's a lot of very critical, and it really comes from women in regards to everying that she does. We saw it last season.
Ask me if I'm shocked. If you're a cute blonde, being a blonde is the worst thing in the entire world.
Well, I mean, I think being a blonde, being a woman, but it is interesting how these people turn against each other. Or, like women supporting women, as Ramona Singer would once say, you don't really see that sometimes across the board in Bravo.
You don't. It's the fans. The fans are really crap, especially on Twitter. People on Twitter are just garbage. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Not surprised. But I think that Carl was not great. And I think that, I think that Lindsay was blindsided by everything that happened. And I watched it just like everyone else did. And I felt like she looked blindsided. I mean, Lindsay always has something to say. She didn't have much to say whenever he was sitting there with her. I thought it was really crappy. And I don't care what Bravo execs say, that was planned.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my thing is that there's no way, like, I understand that they shouldn't be together. And I understand like that, I understand all of that, but there's no way that Carl in that last scene didn't know that he was going in to break up with her. Like if she, there's just no way. I think he was just hoping that she would actually pull the plug after he came down hard in that conversation. And also I just think there's a lot of like, kind of like backroom handshakes where of like, okay, we're just filming some footage just to see how you guys are doing. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to like go and cover like a conversation unless you know it's going to be something big.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was like. They're not just throwing money just to throw money out there at all. But Summer House this season, I think, is going to be so exciting because it wasn't just the Lindsay Carl stuff, and I'm so thrilled for Lindsay on this journey.
Me
But
too.
we also have West and Sierra, which at the reunion, kind of Paige ended West in a lot of ways, and we saw how hurt Sierra was. What was your take on the West Sierra dynamic, and what is the over under? You're a betting woman. What is the over under that they hook up again this season?
I think that I don't think it was that serious. I think a lot of it was drama for camera. They didn't even sleep together. If you're just making out with somebody, come on, you're just making out, you're not sleeping together. It's not that serious.
But then after the cameras dropped, they did sleep together, and then he said it didn't want to go further. So I think that was the thing, is that she felt strung along.
Oh, I didn't realize that they did sleep together. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now I do.
After the fact. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't really get that. Yeah, I would be pissed about that. Yeah, I'd probably be mad. I think that actually, I don't think Sierra would hook up with him again. Probably if given the chance, he would, but I don't know. I just think the new guys are okay. It's so funny how Jesse Solomon no one gave Jesse crap for hitting on Paige, knowing that she had a serious relationship. If it were Paige hitting on someone or Sierra or anybody else, if it were a woman doing that, oh my God, they would be canceled, ended, not asked back for the next show. No, Jesse's allowed to have a whole character arc because he thought he might have cancer again, which is tragic. Thank God he doesn't. But I just feel like men are always allowed to have character arcs and women are not.
That's really interesting, and you're right. I do think Summer House, though sometimes they have such a strong female cast, like Paige, Sierra, Lindsay, Amanda, and that's why it's interesting to see Summer House, is that they, all the boys have these huge egos. Kyle Cook cries every 3 episodes, yet the women's conversations this past season were so interesting, especially when they were like open to hearing what Lindsay was feeling in the Carl relationship. And that, I think, is so strong and so good to see, because you're right. The narrative is always pushed towards the men because they make the stupidest choices, yet they're still funny and fun to watch.
Yeah, it's that's how editing goes.
Well, how much would they have to
perception too? The public does it.
One also like internalized misogyny from the beginning of time, like all of this stuff. But how much would they have to pay you right now to like share your actual relationship with your husband? Like, I mean, people don't realize what it's like to actually have a relationship off camera. They don't realize that they're so lucky to have that not everybody is throwing in opinions about their relationship. Would you ever consider sharing your actual relationship on camera?
So, it's funny. They were interviewing people, and I guess still off interviewing people for like a NOLA Housewives type show. And I was interviewed a long time ago. And then I had another interview when they gave it to some other casting people, which, by the way, these 2 girls, haters as well. They were terrible. But anyway, I even told Andy that. I was like, these 2 casting girls think that they're on the show. They're confused about what their job is, but whatever. Yeah, so I was actually open to it because my husband is a really funny guy. He's amazing. We have a really solid relationship. But it's like, the more I think about it, a lot of these relationships on Housewives don't survive. And it gets really hard. I think that a lot of the women on there don't have enough money to support the lifestyle. So they think that they need to spend 10 times more. And it causes a problem with the husband because he's just like, I'm working for you to throw a $100K party for a television show when you're only making $100,000 or whatever it is in the beginning. It's not much. But yeah, the first season, you don't make anything. And to be honest, I don't need the money. And like, I don't know. It would have to be something really good.
Well, yeah, I mean, even Kyle and Mauricio, which we thought had the strongest relationship of any housewife, house husband, they split this past season. And, it's really interesting that I don't think these shows sometimes help really solid relationships. I think they give them like reason to fail sometimes.
Yeah, that is what it is. And so it's a little hard. I mean, I would not be opposed to it if I liked the cast. Some of the people that I'm hearing like now that are being interviewed, I'm like,
well, it's so funny. The first time I interviewed you, you told me about interviewing for the Housewives New Orleans, and then you made me cut it out afterwards, and because it was still in play, and so I cut it out. But like, it's like, so you're openly talking about that now. There was still, I mean, so you're not in conversations with that at all anymore, right?
No, they think that they have their cast. Good
They
luck.
think that, okay.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, you still are popping up on Bravo, because last week we
Yeah.
have the new season of Below Deck Med, Aisha's the Chief Stew, Captain Sandy, and then all of a sudden you pull up with your husband. But I mean, you're
Yeah.
not the head person. You're not like, you're a guest of one of the clients. What was the story of how you wound up on Below Deck Med?
Okay, so my friend Brittany, this was like all her idea that she wanted to go on it. And I definitely did not want to be the primary, because I know that the primary has the main focus. And I actually did Below Deck before I even knew I was doing Traitors. So I hadn't been on television in a long time. So this was me coming back with my husband.
So this was before Traitors?
Yeah, months
Wow,
before
okay.
Traitors.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, this was like last summer. So my friend Brittany did all the, primary thing, and she got us all together. And I was like, yeah, this sounds fun. Like, whatever, I'll do it. And we spent 3 days on the yacht, and it was awesome. We had the best time ever.
How was Aisha in person?
She's lovely. I just wanted to like take her home in my suitcase. She is the cutest thing in the entire world. She's so generous. By the way, I saw last week the episode. I had no clue that these two, Bree and Ellie, were fighting literally right before we're coming on the boat. Like, we're walking up and they're still like pissy with each other. I had no clue. The crew did such an amazing job hiding all of that drama.
See, that's what I was wondering. How aware are you of all the background stuff? Like, obviously the primary wasn't happy with her meal, so we have some chef drama happening, and I think potentially the chef's going to get let go. You're on tonight's episode as well, so we'll see how that all pans out, but you're very unaware. You're just having a good time.
I'm just having a good time. So to be honest, with the chef thing, I didn't love my steak either that night. It was medium rare on the inside. However, my husband and I cook, and so we could tell what he did. It looks like he sous vide the steaks, which is a technique that you cook, and he didn't sear them. So, and that's what a professional chef would normally do. And we're just at-home cooks, and we knew better. So like, I expected something a little bit better, but I didn't want to complain because we were told that the chef was on thin ice. So I was like, I don't want him to get fired. Not on my watch.
Well, and on the steak plate, he made it look like there was like blood on the steak plate. Like, he decorated it with like this red, like, I was like, this is so weird. I feel bad for the guy because he made a couple mistakes in a row. How was Captain Sandy?
Oh, I was like starstruck, honestly.
Really?
When she came out, I was like, yeah, I loved her. I thought she was awesome. And she's so beautiful in person. Whoa, her face is like flawless. She's so pretty. And it was really good. I thought all the people were super hot. In fact, I was like, I wonder, I mean, we get kind of drunk on tonight's episode. I'm like kind of nervous as to what they might show. I was like, I definitely remember dancing and showing my butt, but I had a thong on. I'm like, I think I'm okay. Like, we were wild. And then I told, this is so funny watching it back, because I remember telling Joe and Ellie whenever we were on like a little boat. I think they show it tonight's episode that we're on this little excursion, but we were on a boat, and I was like, you two would make a cute couple, not knowing that they were having this like rift. So who knows if they'll show it or not, but I just thought that they were like a hot couple, like they would, be, but.
I was cracking up when I saw you enter the boat. I was like, oh my God, of course she's here. This is amazing. And that was even before Traitors, which is so funny. Okay, so to go back into the past a little bit, we just came out season 11 of Vanderpump Rules, which then led kind of into the first season of The Valley, which brought Jax Taylor and Kristen Doty back onto our screens. How did you feel with how we left Vanderpump Rules this season? And, I know, are you friendly with any of the cast, especially after the Traitors? Everybody, I don't know if you guys all just hobnob because you're part of the Peacock NBC Universal family.
I met Ariana and I met Sheena. And I talk with Zach from The Valley, but as far as like VPR, just those two. And they're lovely girls, both of them. And how did I feel about how they ended it off? I don't know. I mean, the reunion definitely covered all of it. I don't see Ariana coming back. She's just been busy.
Well, you're watching Love Island USA, and I got to say,
Mhm.
she's killing. I mean, like,
So
it's a
good.
perfect job for her because she watches Love Island already. You can tell she's a fan. She's killing it, not only with like her hosting, but she's so beautiful now. Like all the slow-mo shots of
Mhm.
her. It's like so funny. I mean, it's awesome to watch her do this because you're like, wow, she's really got this skill.
Yeah, so you want a host who is involved in the show that you're a fan of. And you can tell when someone's just phoning it in or they're super involved. That's why I actually like Julie Chen as the host of Big Brother. I think she's like involved. I think she's a fan of the show too. What's his face on Survivor? He actually kind of lost me a
Jeff
little bit.
Probst.
Yeah, Jeff Probst. He kind of lost me when he was like, "Oh,
Everybody's hating on Jeff
everybody needs
lately.
to be kind now on reality TV." I'm like, you need to be done. Like, go away. We don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see people who are kind to each other. I
Well,
don't.
Trishelle, okay, Trishelle, I really love this take, and I just read this amazing book on reality television called "Cue the Sun" by Emily Nussbaum, and she talks about Survivor and Big Brother and things like this. And it is so interesting to learn about this. But you are on the receiving end of a lot of people not being nice to you. So,
Mhm.
like, do you think? I mean, are you kind of saying like, well, that's just how it goes? I'm a big girl, I can take it, but that's how
I
reality shows go.
I root for villains and I root for people who make really good game moves in order to win because I am a strategy player and I can separate television from reality. What I don't agree with is what happened to me whenever people said, kill yourself over and over again. If I see you in public, I'm going to physically attack you.
And that's what I want to also differentiate you guys is that they're different. Like us listening right here, like I consider us the good fans. I consider us people that genuinely love reality television. But you were getting things like that. You were getting go kill
Threats,
yourself. You were
threats.
saying, you know, if I see you in public, it's on site. I mean,
Yeah.
I would read some of these things, and they really are scary as hell. But you're saying like just to you know, you're saying like it's different when you're on the show. On the
Mm.
show, there is a level of gameplay that encourages villainy, and that usually is exciting to watch. People making strong moves. We want people that don't hang in the back. We want people
Yes.
to be big, bold characters. That's what reality show champions. It's just that the fandom then thinks that's the way to go about it, and they take it to a whole new level.
So on Survivor, this I hadn't seen it in a really long time, but I am of the, I guess they do old school, new school era now, whatever.
Yeah.
They cut the time basically in half, and like, you know, they're giving people small treats at tribal counts, and I'm like, Jeff Probst has gotten so soft to me that I don't even want to watch it because of him. And I will publicly say this: I don't think that
Damn,
I
Jeff
think
versus Trishelle right now.
I think
Wow.
he should be. I think somebody else should start hosting the show, even though he is a good host. I just think that he's too soft. I think he needs to toughen up a little bit. Stop giving people popcorn at tribal council. It makes me so angry at Twizzlers. I'm like, no, don't feed them. Like they knew what they were signing up for. But one of my favorite people on Survivor this season was Q, because I thought
Yeah.
he was like really exciting to watch. And he was like, whenever that girl was
But Q
crying,
had horrible gameplay though. Like he was like
okay,
making it up as he went. Like he was entertaining to watch, Rochelle, but I thought he was like at
I
times like that one tribal council
loved
when he was like,
him.
vote me off, and then he was like scrambling. Like I thought he just created chaos, which was exciting to watch. But then I thought at the end of the day, this guy doesn't actually have good gameplay. He's
No,
just
I think
the
that when
chaos
he
agent.
was saying, whenever he was being chaotic at tribal council, I think that he in his mind thought he was going home anyway, and he was trying to stir up some trouble to make him stay a little bit longer. I really think that there was some gameplay behind it for a couple reasons, but whenever that girl was crying, was it Mackenzie? I don't remember. Whenever she wanted to go on, she was like, "I can't eat anything," and blah
Oh
blah
yeah.
blah. I'm allergic
Put
to
me on the
everything.
challenge.
She's
Put me on
allergic to
the
everything
reward.
except for Twizzlers. Whenever she was absolutely starving, she could eat Twizzlers, but she couldn't eat anything else. So anyway, that was weird. But he told her no about the reward, and I was like, he's a king. Like I love this television.
Well, that was great because they would give these reward challenges, you guys, and Q got to pick people to go on like some like I don't know, it was like sponsored by like Chili's or something like that, and it
Yeah,
was her favorite meal. Like Apple. It was like her favorite restaurant with her daughter, and she had this whole sob story. And Q still didn't pick her, which was hysterical. But you're right; they're there on Survivor. We're there to see them suffer and survive through this. So we want to make sure that they're not getting help along the way or they're feeding people off camera. We want to believe they're going through this real experience.
yeah,
You're totally right. So Ariana, back to Love Island USA, which you're watching, right?
yes.
Okay. What do you think of Love Island USA this season? I'm loving it.
God, it's so dramatic. I mean,
I
my
know.
mouth is like on the floor every single episode. Now, oh my God, I got my husband into it finally.
Oh,
The last two episodes, I saw him. He wasn't even playing on his phone. He wasn't playing his games. I was like, oh, he's really paying attention. Uh, okay, so I went so back and forth with Rob. It's like at
I know.
first I didn't like him, then I really liked him, and now I'm starting to not like him again.
Yeah, well, I couldn't tell if he was the
No.
smartest man alive or the dumbest man alive, and I call him the son of Jax Taylor because he makes great reality
Yeah.
television. Like you really watch him, but he seems to go from every woman in the villa. Leah, went for Leah. That whole thing happened. Then Andrea got sent home. Then he was almost entertaining going back with Leah again, and I couldn't believe Leah was open to that as well. And then he tried to get people turned around on Leah, like all the little intricacies, but it is so dramatic. Like they had an hour and a half episode, you guys, on Friday night.
Oh,
And it was all reaction
oh,
shots. It was like 30-minute reaction shots. And then what they do is they take like a popular song from like the 80s and then they'll slow it down to make it the most dramatic like song. I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but they'll take some
yeah,
like Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. It'll be like, I'm so excited.
yeah.
And they'll
I
make it like sad and
cried.
creepy.
Who do you think is my favorite one?
Janae.
No, well, I do love Janae. Leah, she is
Leah,
a
okay.
mess.
Leah is a mess. And by the way, Leah has such a strong fan base because I think women relate to, so like I'm chaotic like that too, because Leah had a chance, you guys, to get with Connor, who I spoke with on the show. He was on Saturday. And, I was like, did it hurt you hearing some of the things that Leah said about you off camera, about, wearing too tight of jeans and getting you the ick?
Oh.
And, she admitted, she's like, I don't know what it is. He's too nice. I don't like nice guys. And I thought,
You're too good for
there it
me.
is. There it is right there. That's it. Like I like the bad boy. She was going for like Miguel. But we had this recoupling after the men went to Casa Amor. The men went to Casa Amor where all new women get in and they get challenged in their relationships. Is this unfair towards the men? Because men are just looking to make out with women. Like they don't think with their heads at all. There's no strategy. They just think with their dicks. Sorry.
Okay, so first off, if you ever talk to Connor again, tell him that I cried whenever he left. I felt so horrible. And I am not an emotional person. I actually shed a tear. I was like really sad for him. But anyway, okay. I think it was unfair for a few reasons. I thought that the girls that went to Casa Amor, the new girls with the guys, were so much hotter than the new guys that the girls got. I'm like, this is unfair.
Yeah. Well, the guys kind of blended in. Like I didn't really get a grasp on any of their personalities really. Like the two guys that were going for Janae a little
English.
bit.
Like this guy was like, I'm kind of learning English. I'm like, what? Like, where did you find this guy? I don't know, but I thought the girls were so much hotter. And so that was like obviously not hotter than the girls that are currently on the show. I would say just as hot though. Like they were.
But do you think that's producers knowing that too? Of like they're really throwing everything at the map to get these guys completely screwed up to bring the drama when everybody gets back together.
I feel like the new guys that went to the villa with the girls, none of these guys were their type. But I feel like they specifically put hot women that the guys type in Casa Amor. So I feel like they wanted new girls to come in and no new guys to come in.
Yeah, that's why I think it was totally like producers really trying to do their job. But Kaylor and Aaron, that's the big one because they came back. Kaylor was having a full breakdown, seeing a little clip of him flirting with this girl and like potentially making out with her. And we saw that they chose to she wants to be single. He didn't bring that girl back, Daniela, but Rob brought Daniela back as his girl, you guys. So tonight, or it'll already be over by the time you hear this tomorrow, they all get to see what the aftermath is. Do you think Kaylor and Aaron will get back together, or is Kaylor done with Aaron now?
No, I don't think she's done. I love this Serena, Janae, Kaylor whole like woman power thing that they have going. I think it's so cool. They're just like, we're gonna be queen. Serena especially. Oh, I love her. Actually, I do really love she might be my favorite. But I think that they're just strong women, and I like that they're all being like, we're going to be single. Who cares? Like if one of us go home, whatever. But I think that Kaylor's going to cave and get back with Aaron. I think that when she sees all of this, that they're still together back home, it will be a problem.
Yeah. I mean,
He was
yeah.
way more into that girl, Daniela, than what was
Oh, immediately, like
way.
immediately. And well, it was so funny. It was like so typical guy too. It was like like 2 days they're having the time of their lives, and then like then they start thinking like, oh God, we got to go back and talk with the original girls, and you could tell like their moods start to darken, and like they're like Aaron's like, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm going to bring Daniela back, but Rob brought Daniela back, and so Daniela is going to get like so much shit from those girls. Hopefully, they'll give the men more shit than the girl because at the same time, the women are there to tempt the men in Casa Amor. So what was Daniela supposed to do? They're there to hook up with those guys in a sense.
You know what's interesting is that we were talking earlier about like, all this crap that I got in 2002 for doing the real world because
Yeah.
I dated a guy and I kissed one girl and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that was like, that was slut shaming at its finest.
At its
and we're
finest.
so, I mean, it's on steroids now, but that was like so tame.
They literally get girls who are sent there to try to take men away from another woman, home wreckers basically, and these girls are praised.
Yeah, by the way, don't call them bombshells. Don't call them home wreckers.
No, home wreckers. I missed the boat on that whole thing. Like, I'm like, wow, like I wish that 2002, like people were more forward thinking back then. But yeah, it's crazy. Daniela, I'm sure, is going to get a lot of crap from the girls, as she should. I mean, she was messy. Then she walked in there with Rob. I mean, like this girl, she's like, no, I actually wanted you from the beginning. No, you didn't.
But like you talk about gameplay, it's like those girls in Casa Amor, that's their gameplay, is to get back into the villa, because people forget this at the end of the day truly isn't about love. There is money at the end of this. So people are looking to get to the end. And if you are in Casa Amor and you're a girl, or if you're a guy, you're looking to stay on the show. So it is interesting. Like that's part of the game. So I love people being outraged, the audience, but you have to realize that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah, like that's why you're watching the show.
Yeah,
like, don't be mad at the game.
yeah, don't be mad. Yeah, be mad at the player, not the game. It's a reverse. What did you think about? We had also Serena and Cordell. And Serena did the little like kiss in her middle finger and was like, "You just wanted to get your pecker wet and all of this stuff. I knew you would do this," but at the same time, Serena, crushed my man Cordell at one point on the sticker twist game. She didn't stay there. So, listen, what is your take on this?
I think she's a smart girl, and I think that she had a good read. I think that she had a read on him that he was a dirty bird, and that something was up with him. And I think that she had a good read. I think she's a smart girl, and yeah. I think
so you're saying she didn't drop her guard. Like the reason she was so standoffish, like with Cordell, was because she got a vibe that he was like this. She had a bad
feeling about him, and she was correct.
And then Janae, she wanted to leave the show the other night because, her guy came back with the girl, and this guy seems like it's hard for him to put sentences together like myself, he was like, I thought you would pick the other. I don't even know if he realized what's going on, but Janae was like, she was so emotional about it, which surprised me.
I think that Janae is, one of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen, honestly, like on television. I'm sure she's the same in real life, but she is gorgeous. So I'm sure she's used to being the number one pick. And I think it probably just hurt her a little bit, like her ego a little bit, that he brought someone else in. And I think that's why she was so mad and she wanted to leave. However, I don't think that he likes that girl more than he likes Janae. I think that he's going to regret the decision.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think you saw in that moment, he was almost like self-destructing. Like, what am I doing? And the girl that he brought in looked scared as hell, which was like,
my God.
So, it's really like, this is the part of the show where if you produced it right, everything starts popping off like fireworks. But also, being in reality TV yourself back at a really young age, when you're put in these situations, like you guys, the real worlders, weren't trapped in that room, but you were trapped in Vegas. You were all encouraged to be together.
Yeah.
These people are trapped in this island. All their phones are taken away, all of this stuff, and they're just encouraged to find love and have chats. How quickly can your heart and your mind just get completely like devoid of any rational thinking. Like for you back then, like you were even probably encouraged with like Steven or like, like other cast members to be like friendly with. Like, how much does that really affect your way of thinking in these pressure situations with cameras?
Well, you sort of feel like no one understands what you're going through except for the people that are the small group of people that you're with. And so nobody understands, like, whenever you're just like having anxiety or you're just like getting crap from people back home, like my family was giving me crap.
Yeah.
Like, you're ruining your family, like embarrassing them, whatever. And so you just kind of cling to the people that you're with. And especially when you're taken out of your comfort zone and you're in a foreign place, it's like you really get closer to people, especially if you don't have television, phones, or radio or anything. You have to talk. So whenever Kaylor and Aaron started kind of falling for each other, I was like, I 1,000% believe it, because you have only talked to this person about everything for 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. I get it. I 100% believe that they.
So 2 weeks can almost be like 4 months, like
exactly.
Because you're spending so much time and there's nothing else to pay attention to.
In the real world, people don't do that. You go on a date, and people are busy now. You go on a date every other week or see each other, and it takes a long time to get to know someone.
Yeah, nobody can ghost somebody on Love Island USA.
Yeah, exactly. You are forced to be there. So I do believe that it's all genuine. That's why it's so interesting for someone like me to watch, because I know that situation.
I need you. You thought you were in love?
I thought I was in love with Steven. I did.
Yeah, we remember that. Which, by the way, was so you just hung out with Steven a little bit ago. I saw you guys in a picture together. You guys are all friends. Like, I love that. Like, you were, that's what you want to believe, that these actually, provide friendships that can last a lifetime. And by the way, I always think about that. Imagine if your cast of Real World had to do it for 11 seasons, like Vanderpump Rules. Like, imagine that. Like, these people, like, we started this whole Love Island thing about Ariana staying in Vanderpump Rules. And it's like, why would you do this if you can do Broadway, if you can do hosting? Why put your heart back in there, especially after something like Sandoval happened? Like, the whole point is to be able to, like, work in this industry without having to share your innermost thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. And she's doing that, but like, oh God, it's going to be interesting. I got to be honest. I'll watch Vanderpump season 12. I will watch.
By the way, I love people that are like, I'm not going to watch. I'll watch this until it's I'll watch if it's just like Lisa and her dog. Like I watch like, do you have 15 more minutes? Are you good? I know you have been busy. Okay, good. This is awesome. By the way, I want you and your husband to do a Love Island podcast now. Like, I want you and your husband, because if he's in it, I want to know what goes on in the male mind, because your husband seems like a actual real man, unlike myself.
Oh, he's actually so sweet. He feels bad for the girls.
Well, how can you not? But it is funny. You'll watch it and you'll get really into it. And then you'll start thinking about it the day later and you're like, it's just a TV show. Calm down. Like, it's fine. They've only known each other for a couple of weeks. You're like wondering how long this emotional upheaval in their life can stay with them. You're like, I just hope that Kaylor is all right and she's mentally okay after this.
But my husband will catch things like that girl, the blonde girl that was in Casa Amor, was just like, I'm a vegan. I love animals. And then she's trying to talk to Rob. And he was like, how is she a vegan? And she's trying to date the snake catcher. Like, that's, I'm like, oh yeah. Actually, good point.
Oh my God. I had Andrea on, and Andrea had this insane scene with Rob where he went and found a spider and was playing with the spider and made her touch the spider and asked if she would go snake hunting with him. And I was like, Andrea, what are you even agreeing? Like, what are women agreeing to just because they like a guy? Like, you're going to go play with spiders now?
I was shocked by her not matching with anyone, because I thought she was so stunning and so sweet.
Well, she said, I talked to her last week. She said she made a bad move gameplay wise, because she went with her heart instead of actually doing what her mom said, is that, like, make sure you don't piss off the girls, make sure you're friends with the girls, make sure you do that. And she went with her heart because she really had this feeling about Rob. Yeah. And she also said that's kind of what she's done in the past in her real life, which I thought was interesting, but it really hurt her gameplay, because when it came down to that vote, it really did, I think, affect things.
I felt bad for her, not having a single person go behind her. I was just like, that's so messed up. But you know what? Like, look, I was happened to me on the challenge. Every single person voted for me to my face. And then you have to just get over it.
People forget how much reality television you've been a part of. And that's it's got to road test you in a certain way. Like, even with all like the blowback and some of the elements of, like, you won the Traitors and you were still dealing with comments. And some of them, like I said, we talked about the unconscious bias training, which you had talked about, like you actually are able to take notes or like, hey, this is something that I'm not proud of. This is something that I can work on.
This
But it
wasn't
is
one
interesting.
class that I did just because
No,
of
it's a
people on
whole,
the internet. It's like I'm choosing to still continue to do this just to because I feel like everybody should be a little bit better. But here's the thing. I didn't go make an Instagram video or TikTok or whatever video being like, guys, I'm doing this right now. Here's my journey. I didn't tell anyone. I just said
no.
that I would do it and I privately did it and still doing it. And that's me. But it's like people will, it doesn't matter if I posted it right now on Twitter, people would still be, oh, it's performative. Like they are always going to have something to say. So I just keep things to myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I feel, I guess after all this time, you're used to it, but I don't know how, like, even if I get small hate comments, it still rocks you, you know, like, I just don't know, like, it's still upsetting, but you're like, I guess this is the forum in which I'm working in. Real Housewives of Orange County, we talked about, cause it's coming back this Thursday. And
Woo!
I am
I'm
so
excited.
excited. Where did you leave off? Where are you with like Shannon Bedore? By the way, you got to work with Tamara on the Traitors very briefly because she didn't last. Like, where are you with Orange County this season?
Okay, so that's funny. We were just talking about all this internet hate that I received. My husband said, Tamara's been on the Housewives forever. Will you text her and see if this is normal? Just because, like, I had been on television for so long. I did. I text her. I was like, is this normal? She's like, oh, yeah, it's normal. I was like, for people to tell me to kill myself? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. Like, I didn't know. Like, she's like, it's not right. But yeah, people will definitely say that. And it's just shocking. But so I love Tamara, by the way. My whole point is she's a good friend. She's very kind. I think she's amazing. I am so excited for her. Shannon Bedore, she always has to be on television. There's nothing that she does that's boring. She's a mess. She's so good.
I mean, she's just kind of Shannon Bedore. Like, see,
Yeah.
I feel like Tamara approaches Housewives like you approach Traitors. It's almost like gameplay to her, you know, where I almost feel like these aren't Tamara's, like she's friendly with everybody, but these aren't like her ride or dies in her real life.
She's a real person with a real life. And that's probably why her and
outside
Eddie
of the show
have such a good relationship and they're going to be together forever. That's why.
And by the way, Tamara's a really successful housewife, but she's a different sort of housewife than Shannon Bedore. Shannon Bedore, everything's real to her. You know, she really she thought Tamara was a ride or die. She thought this is her real life, for better or worse. She's not doing gameplay. And I think that's why we're attracted to people like that. And I saw the first episode, you guys, and it is so good. But the other storyline that they really hit, and what is your take on this? Alexis Bellino is back. She's a friend of, and she is now with John Jansen, Shannon Bedore's ex. They got together, you guys, less than 6 weeks after Shannon Bedore and him broke up and after the DUI. And then Alexis winds up back on Housewives. I mean, like, listen, give us your show perspective and give us your, as a real person perspective, if this were to happen to you.
Okay, so my show perspective is that Alexis Bellino is smarter than she looks. She found a way back on the show. And if she had to bang John Jansen, by God, she was going to do it. She got on the show. Good for her. He is not that attractive.
That's why you women are fighting over John Jansen of all people.
John Jansen is the freaking, what is that guy's name? Harry from
Harry
New York.
Dubin. Harry Dubin, yeah.
John Jansen is the West Coast version of Harry Dubin. He is. And so,
you're right.
I mean, we thought it was Slade Smiley. He's happily married now. It's John Jansen. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's interesting. I will be watching. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, okay, like from John's perspective, Alexis is a gorgeous woman. Like, why wouldn't he be into her?
Of course, but there's this element of, you know, listen, this isn't in good taste. This isn't like, listen, like and he complained about Shannon Bedore being too public and embarrassing his family and
Yeah.
stuff. Then all of a sudden you're going to date somebody else that's on this same television show. That's
Yeah.
messier than people say women are. That's way messier. John Jansen deserves an orange. Like, he's a housewife now.
Yeah, I never understood that. I mean, but then again, I'm wondering though if because there were reports that like he and Shannon's relationship was like not real, and she was sort of just like using him to have a boyfriend on camera because like she didn't really have like anybody else to be there with her and film.
Yeah.
And so this kind of speaks to that, because the way that he is treating Shannon with like I guess a lawsuit about plastic surgery and all this other crap, that's not somebody who had love for someone.
Yeah,
It
I
just
know.
feels fake.
It feels like he had an agenda, and it feels like he does like being on television, and he likes being
Yeah.
talked about at the end of the day, which
Yeah.
is kind of very housewife oriented. But I can't wait to see it. Tamra and Shannon are not getting along already this season. And Shannon's kind of on a suicide mission. I feel like she's going in there after the worst year of her life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have kind of backed away from her. And then to throw Alexis onto that whole fire with John Jansen, I mean, just like, how much can one person take? But at the same time, as a reality show lover, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. I think here's one thing about Shannon that I do appreciate is that she will put it all out there. I mean, like, you could not have paid me any amount of money to go in my underwear and my sports bra and to show everyone my body at its absolute worst. I'm 44 years old. I think I look good. I barely wear a two-piece now. I wore one the other day, and just me and my husband at the pool. But in front of a lot of people, no. On below deck, you won't see me in a two-piece.
No, I mean,
skinny.
But from even the first season, like, David Bedore, her ex, like, I remember when they went to the hotel in like efforts to like sleep together again, and she had to get really drunk, and it was like so real, and she was like so nervous. She was like, I don't want to take my top off, and I was like, this is insane to share all of this.
It all on camera. It's so crazy, and like, it's great and it's good, and I love that about her. But I don't know. I feel like maybe she should have taken a break after the DUI.
That's what I was wondering, like, mental health wise, was this smart to do? And I guess we'll see, but I hope she comes out of this. I hope she comes out of this winning. I hope everybody comes out of this winning. But Alexis Bellino also, to your point, she was on, I think, Tamra's podcast and admitted or kind of bragged that she was having sex with John Jansen 4 times a night. Would you brag like this about anybody in your life? I'm sorry. Like, that is what, that's also probably scientifically impossible at this point for John Jansen.
Yeah, it's probably. I would not, I don't think, say that. I mean, like, it's different because like my husband and I have a genuine, real relationship. I don't think that Alexis and John do.
But I would also, but I would never ask you about that, nor would you volunteer that on like a podcast that would actually get picked up. Okay. I have a couple more minutes with you. This actually, I'm
good.
Are you good?
I have a seltzer.
Okay, well, the only reason is because right before you were like, oh, I was going to get into this online poker tournament, so I don't want to take you away from.
No, that's done. I've already had cocktails. I don't play and drink.
Okay, then we'll get a little looser here. You said you had the craziest morning today in your personal life. What happened?
God. Oh, I just woke up to, this is so weird. It's like I just woke up to a lot of texts, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? So it was one of my group messages with my friends. A girl that I lived with in LA was just like arrested at the airport trying to flee the country because she stole $600 million.
Wait, what?
From in Medicare fraud from like patients, and like, I guess, I don't know, like the DOJ is prosecuting her, all this other crap. But I lived with this girl for over a year in LA. And I was like, we were pretty chaotic in our 20s, but like this was past the line.
Yeah, I mean, 600 million is a lot. So you woke up to that news.
Yeah, like with all of us, we all lived in a house in Los Angeles and like near Larchmont. And so it's all of our roommates were texting about it. And we were like, what? Article after article, like, it's so insane. So like this girl that we all knew lived with her for a long time. We've known her for like 18 years. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I've
When's the
just been
last
like
time
looking to.
when's the last time you kept in touch with her? When's the last time you talked to her?
Oh, I would say a few years ago, or maybe more recently, she had written me like on social media or something, but she's always been kind of out there. I remember one time we were living together. One time we were living together and she was like, she had Victoria's Secret lingerie on, like very scandalous lingerie, and she put on goggles and it's like 11 p.m. We're all like watching a movie on the couch and she walks outside and I hear a noise and she has like the weed eater out and she's doing yard work at like 11 p.m. in LA.
Amazing.
And our neighbors are texting me like, can you tell her to keep it down? Like we're trying to sleep. She's just an odd bird, but I just thought she was quirky. I didn't think she was a criminal.
Well, Department of Justice, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I do not want to be a witness. Trishelle does not want to be a witness. We're good, just living our lives.
Listen, I'm just waiting for Keith Morrison to come calling. I want to be like a talking head on Dateline NBC.
By the way,
like, I mean, I'm waiting for it.
I saw this great TikTok the other night of a lady prepping her Dateline episode for the future of like picking like the hot pictures to use of her. And like, I want Keith Morrison to narrate it. I want it to be a good one and not one of the bad I want a 2-hour Dateline mystery where they use good photos.
Oh, this could be a 2-hour. I mean, I'm going to have a really hard time of finding something good to say about her though.
You talked the last time and you just mentioned it now of like when you had moved to LA after Real World Vegas. And like, it just seemed like so insane. Like that's a reality show right there because it's pre social media. It's like, celebrities, it was different. Like everybody,
yes, people had fun back then.
Yeah. Like, you were able to like date and keep it secret and you were all of these things. And I was looking at 4th of July stories and this was crazy. Michael Rubin, who is a very rich man. He owns this company Fanatics, but he has this annual 4th of July bash at his Hamptons estate. And everybody has to wear white. And it's a who's who. This is who was there this year. Kim Kardashian, Tom Brady, Drake, Jake Paul, Travis Scott, Meek Mill, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Leonardo DiCaprio, Winnie Harlow, Wiz Khalifa, Robert Kraft. It was a who's who. People got sent home with like food from Rouse and like custom made Nikes from Travis Scott. All of this and it was just insane. And I was thinking back in the day of like, what was the most insane celebrity party you were at back in the day in Los Angeles? Like, was it like the Playboy Mansion? Like what were the big parties back then?
Okay, first off, was this the party where someone shit themselves?
No, that's a different story that I was going to close with. That's at Gwyneth Paltrow's Hamptons estate.
Okay,
different
then I won't comment. Okay, so the craziest party, obviously the Playboy Mansion was pretty crazy. You'd see just random people there. Like, I mean, I don't know. You'd always see like Vince Vaughn and like all these people, and
James Caan.
Just like random people all the time. I can't even think of their names. I went to like Christy Brinkley's house in the Hamptons once for a party, and that was pretty fun. There was like a lot of people there. I'm sure Ramona was there. This is like so back in the day that like I don't even know. But you got to imagine Ramona's going to be at a Hamptons party. I'm sure she doesn't miss. But I don't know, like house parties were. Oh, I went to Gwen Stefani had a house party one time that I went to. That was fun. It was like actually like a good house party. It was like very low key, like beer and like it felt like
like a kickback.
Yeah. Back in the day, like people used to really go out to clubs though in LA. People used to paparazzi was all up in there. Whenever you'd come outside, they'd be taking your picture. I feel
was that Joseph's and Jet and those
kind
of clubs? Yeah,
Joseph's, Spider Club, Hyde.
Hyde.
Like all these. I'm trying to think of all the names, but those were the days. And now when I go to LA, I'm like, am I not cool? Or do people just not go out anymore? And I think that people just don't go out as much as they used to because of paparazzi. It's just gotten to, and social media. Social media really just ruined a lot.
Well, that's why the Michael Rubin 4th of July part. First off, all white, I would ruin that immediately. I would spill all over myself.
Yeah.
Like there's too much pressure there. But also, and I know you had a flirtation with him like decades ago, DiCaprio goes to all of these things. And I just think at a certain point, you're like a really well-respected rich actor. Does he get bored of going out? Like, it's got to be so boring. Like, you've been there, done that. Like, how can you keep going to these? I mean, I know it's amazing, but you're already a high A-list celebrity. Who are you there to see? Like, it's got to be just a waste of time at a certain point.
Well, Ryan, people are getting older. He needs to meet the next batch of 19, 20 year
Yes.
olds. I mean, we're all just getting older. He's the same age. He
I
needs
know.
to meet
Well,
the new young ones.
well, they had a shot, a paparazzi shot outside of Michael Rubin's party of Tobey Maguire with this 20-year-old model.
God.
Beautiful model, 20-year-old model. But of course, this one paparazzi shot, people went and like, all of a sudden did the sleuthing on the internet and said, hey, this dude's like almost 50 years old. She's 20 years old. And it was like this big hubbub of like, how disgusting, how disgusting. And I thought, like, yeah, but I mean, that's celebrity. That's what it is. And also, the 20-year-old girl probably was enjoying being flirted with Tobey Maguire, but Tobey Maguire is not going to be a responsible adult. He's a dude. He's like an idiot.
It's so weird. Like whenever I was in my 20s, when I felt like I was like at my best looking, obviously, because it's only going to go down now, but
after this podcast, it all goes down.
I never got hit on by older men, nor was I like trying to go after older men. I always dated like really hot broke people. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but you might not have been aware that you were being hit on.
Maybe I just didn't have an eye for an older man. I didn't have an eye for money. I just really wanted a hot band guy. I was like, if you are in a garage playing an instrument, I will date you. If you are a bartender sleeping on a couch, I will date you.
If you will not call me back, I will date you. This is by the way, this is why you like Leah from Love Island USA. This is exactly Leah coded. A couple more things. Speaking of the Hamptons, we had a big reunion this weekend at a Hamptons party. It brings people together. Countess Luann reunited with Bethany Frankel and her daughter Bryn was there, and Luann's in photos with Bryn. It was like, come here, Bryn. And Bethany actually took photos of Countess Luann. This was really amazing to see, especially because Bethany started the Reality Reckoning last year. I was kind of shocked. Did you see this photo?
I did. First off, Bethany's daughter is so cute.
I know.
She's really, really cute. Secondly, this is what I love Luann. She laughs at herself before anybody else will. She knows what people say about her. She makes it a joke. She doesn't care. She's just like, yes, Bethany said that I had sex with half of Manhattan. Who cares? Like, it was a TV show. I forgot about it. Like, whatever. She moves on. So I do appreciate someone who can just laugh and move on.
And drop it and take a picture and be nice and cordial. And I thought that was really, and by the way, Countess Luann, she's overseas, like her concerts, like she was at a festival where she was playing for like 30,000 people at this music festival. And I was like, this is what, like, everybody makes a joke of these things, but if you keep working hard and you're oblivious to the hate, you can actually move mountains,
I've seen her show in New Orleans.
I've seen it 3 times. I'm like, follow her like the Grateful Dead.
Did amazing. You follow like the Grateful Dead.
I mean, no, she's funny. She like winks at herself and
really
she like,
funny.
It's great. I think she plays into that. So I was very happy to see that. Let's see. Justin Bieber performed a concert overseas for a birthday party and received $10 million for it.
What?
This weekend. Yes. $10 million to perform. And it was one of the richest men in the world's party. He does not do his own, like he'll cancel his own concert tour, but this is for Anant Ambani Radhika merchant. It was a wedding. It was actually a wedding party. And this man has had so many wedding parties but this is another one, $10 million for one night of work.
That's insane. Like, oh my God. What country is this?
This is, I want to get this right. Justin Bieber. Bieber thrilled. It was on July 5th. Glamorous celebration. It's not giving me the country. Here. Justin Bieber. This is from the Hindustan Times. Oh, New Delhi, India.
New Delhi, India. Huh. Missed my boat on that one. Missed my boat on that guy.
Luann would have done it for $20,000. Come on. Okay, we did Orange County. Also, this was you're an old school Housewives fan, and I was watching clips of old Real Housewives of New Jersey on TikTok, and I was wondering, like, sometimes I feel like, obviously we've seen season after season, and what it is now isn't what it used to be, and I'm not saying it's bad, it's just different. But I was watching old New Jersey, and there was like a scene of Joe Giudice back in the day, and was drinking in front of his daughter Gia, a young Gia, in like she was probably like sixth, seventh grade, and he was drinking scotch with Rosie. Remember Rosie?
I love Rosie.
Rosie was amazing, but it was just them shit faced around Gia, who was trying to do her homework, and Gia was like, he's like, hey, I know the capitals of things. Tell me a thing. And she was like, where's the Grand Canyon? He's like, Nebraska. It's Nebraska, and she's like, no, Dad, it's Arizona. And Rosie's like, it's Arizona. You shitting me? And it was so simple. And none of them were dressed up. None of them were like, and it was just like this simple scene of, I mean, it was insane that they were both wasted in front of Gia, but it was so simple. And I was like, that's what I used to love, is just real relationships, real characters of like Rosie hanging out, drinking with Joe. And it wasn't about some party with friends that they're not even real friends in real life. And I was like, that's such a difference. Like, we had real relationships back in the day. Do you agree?
That's so funny. Like, you are in my brain right now. I started watching a few weeks ago old episodes of New Jersey because I hadn't seen it. I stopped watching it because whenever everyone was divided and starting to be too crazy, I stopped watching because it's not fun for me. And so I said, I'm going to start from season 1 again and try to watch old episodes. So I'm currently on season 4. And I thought you were going to say whenever Joe Giudice got drunk and did an army roll and lost his tooth or chipped his tooth.
That was good too. Or tackling Joey Gorga with the hairspray on his head. He's like, why do I have fucking black all over me? Your fucking hairspray.
So funny. Like, that's stuff you can't write. But what I'm hearing now is that the new season, it's just hard to watch and like people don't really love it anymore. So maybe they'll have to redo it. I don't want them to do a whole reboot like they did in New York. I think that's like crazy. Why are they getting rid of the old school New York? Like, to me,
well, I mean, I think it was a product of the times. Ramona kept getting herself in trouble. We were in the pandemic. Like, there was so much heat on that show, but it also goes to show you how much social media plays a part in all of these shows now. And that's what Jersey has become. Well, that's what Jersey is like. All of a sudden we're having like influencers influence, or not even like kind of small Twitter accounts influencing these shows. And I wanted to just go back, but like to real relationships, real discussions, like real behavior, and not like who'd you get your hair done by, or what work did you get on your face?
So for me, yes, Ramona's problematic. She's always been problematic. Do we still like to see her on television? 100%. I don't think that producers, production companies, networks, or casting people should ever listen to the idiots on Twitter about who they should be casting. Because if you're problematic, whatever. But Ramona wasn't breaking any laws. She's just kind of an idiot.
Well, I mean, but that's, if you can watch the show and realize that, I think it's like a lot of people watch the show and then get inspired by that. I think that's what the worry is potentially.
Well, if Ramona
but Trishelle, there's a lot of idiots out there.
If Ramona inspires you, that is a big problem in your life.
No, you're right.
I just think that sometimes, people don't need to be punished. Like now Kenya, she might be.
Well, Kenya's off Atlanta officially. And then even today, Kenya Moore Hair Care, her products are now out of Sally's Beauty Supply. They have removed all of Kenya Moore Hair Care products. Yeah, this is a hit online today.
I don't agree with it. If you're going to put housewives to be messy and expect them to be messy on television, and then they're messy on television, and then you're surprised because someone had a bad reaction, you did it. You made them.
Well, I think is what's the line? And then in today, because of Bethany Frankel's reality reckoning, it gets so litigious now, is that like, what is acceptable in 2024? Where is that line? And how do you protect yourself against frivolous lawsuits?
Okay, well, going back to watching the early seasons of Real Housewives of New Jersey, they say some extremely offensive things to the LGBTQIA plus community, like extremely offensive. Some of these people are still on television. It's because people forgot. It still was said. So at what point are you going to draw a line? So Kenya did something. Now, if it's illegal, then sure, make her pay for that and don't put her on television. But if it's not illegal, if it's just somebody's like, okay, I don't agree with it, then why is Kenya getting raked over the coals for this? I don't kind of get it.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, but we don't know the full story yet either. So, like, I don't know. Like, we've heard rumors. We heard it was like some kind of porn image at a party that was being filmed. So we don't know necessarily.
Yeah.
Kenya's saying one thing. Like they're not revealing. So I don't know exactly. But it had to have been really bad for them because they put
Well,
so much money into these seasons
I
for
don't
them to
know.
like pull up stakes. But yeah, it is
I
sad that
enjoy
her
I
business is getting
enjoy
affected.
Kenya. Like I enjoy
Oh,
her a
who
lot on
doesn't? But
television. I think she's
she's a
great.
legend. She's a
Yeah.
legend. Okay, two more things and then we're out of here. Margot Robbie has announced she is pregnant today for the first time.
Oh.
Barbie, we're doing a new Barbenheimer. We've got Margot Robbie with her first child, 34 years old. She just was part of a $2 billion movie. I mean, top of the world. And now she is pregnant with her longtime boyfriend. I believe his name is Thomas Ackerley. So there's no real story there except congratulations. But Lindsay Hubbard and Margot Robbie in the same week.
I think that's awesome. I think that they're both going to be great moms and powerful, amazing women.
Yeah, I agree with that. And okay, and then finally, this is a story not for the faint of heart. This was a story that came out on the 3rd of July, right in time for the holidays in the Daily Mail, the paper of note. And this was the headline: mystery celebrity who fled Gwyneth Paltrow's Hamptons home after suffering, quote, catastrophic diarrhea is revealed, as insiders claim bowel issues were not caused by Ozempic. So you guys, this headline has it all. This headline brings in Ozempic. It brings up mystery. It brings up Gwyneth Paltrow. And so this story is wild. You heard about this, right, Trishelle?
Of course.
Okay,
so I'm so confused. Does Ozempic give that side effect?
Well, I think from what I've heard is that it can make you nauseous and it I don't know exactly because I'm not on it yet, but I'll let you know when I am. But yeah, I hear that it can be bad.
Yeah.
But anyways, this came out and it says, the mystery surrounding the unfortunate guest who lost control of their bowels in a bed at Gwyneth Paltrow's Hamptons home has now been solved. DailyMail.com can reveal that the culprit behind the mortifying incident is socialite and celebrity hanger-on Derek Blasberg. Now, right there, who at the Daily Mail hates Derek Blasberg so much that first off, imagine having a poop so bad that it makes a headline. Like that's you live in fear of that. But also, the really shady thing is that they say is a socialite and celebrity hanger-on. That's even worse than the poop part.
Yeah.
Celebrity hanger-on Derek Blasberg. And then it goes on to say that it has become this joke in the Hamptons, you guys. And Gwyneth has been texting her celebrity friends like Oprah and Larry David. And it's an inside joke in the Hamptons between all of these celebrities because he also pooped and ran. He pooped and ran, supposedly, or allegedly, or whatever we're going with. But this is who at the Daily Mail hates this Derek Blasberg so much. I was not aware of him, but then I talked to friends and they said, I'm very aware of this guy. But like, that's a bad scene all the way around.
I actually got a text from a friend who worked in the fashion industry in New York who knows him. And she was delighted to see this because she said he's a terrible person.
That's what I hate to say it. That's what somebody said. He was like, oh, he's horrible. He's horrible.
The glee in the text that I got from her, I was like, wow, this guy must be terrible. And so, yeah, I guess this is what it is. So someone in the Daily Mail had the same opinion.
But I like that the Daily Mail then shifts it halfway through the article where it's an article about Ozempic and the dangers of Ozempic. They're almost like, we've got to actually make this seem like it's news. So they're like, according to the blind item, the popularity of Ozempic is causing an issue among the rich and famous as they holiday together in the Hamptons. So it almost makes you picture that the Hamptons is like a war zone with like bowel movements and Ozempic right now. It seems insane.
That is crazy. They're trying to cover their butts for a lawsuit, I think.
But like
also informative article.
If you're this Derek Blasberg, how do you ever go in public again? Like if you go to the bathroom, people are gonna like, hey, there's Blasberg going to take a deuce in the bathroom. Like he's done.
I would move away and change my identity. Yeah, I'd go into witness protection for sure.
And Gwyneth Paltrow, of all people, with her goop. And by the way, goop rhymes with poop. How are you going to do like that? Is the worst person to do that at. It's like doing it over like Martha Stewart's house. It's got to be the worst.
Maybe that's going to be her next candle scent. Derek Blasblow's butthole. I don't know. I mean, doesn't she have one about vaginas? Like
Derek. By the way, that's what I always think of Gwyneth Paltrow as like, like this is like decorum and class. and then she's out there texting Larry David about somebody taking a shit in her bed. Like that's
Yeah.
to me celebrity lifestyle at its core. This was amazing, Trishelle. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
What are you? I mean, like, listen, when are we going to see you on TV next? The answer is tonight, Below
Tonight.
Deck Med. But are there other opportunities coming in that you're considering?
Yes. I mean, I'm asked to do things here and there, but it's going to have to be something as good as Traitors or better.
What about Celebrity Big Brother?
I would love to do Celebrity Big Brother. I don't know if they're doing that anymore, but I am a huge Big Brother fan. I know everything about the game. But if you're going to be on the cast, I know nothing about the game.
No, I would love to see you on Celebrity Big Brother. I think that would be amazing.
I would love to do it. In fact, Shannon Elizabeth, who I was just with, she did it as well. But yeah, so I don't know. I would love to do that. We'll see. I've been just up and coming. I have poker. I have traveling, doing a lot of charity work. And yeah.
And we can find that all on your Instagram, right? Or is there a better place to go?
Instagram at Trishelle C. I'm not on really anything else. I'm on Twitter, but.
Wait, and also, if you're watching, they're like, what are the heads behind you? They're like these like mannequin heads that are different colors.
So my friend, her Instagram is Happy Everything Art. She makes all these. So these are all for Mardi Gras, for Easter. Some of these for just like another outing. I went to like a pink party. Yeah, a lot of these that I wear she makes something for every occasion.
Oh my God. And I see the MTV. Is that the MTV logo behind you too?
Yeah, my husband bought this for me from an art gallery in Park City whenever we were visiting. So yeah, it lights up too. I just don't have it lit up right now.
Well, I love that, man. You have been on such a journey since The Real World. So congratulations. It's always amazing. I was so excited when you won the Traitors, even though I know you're upset, Mercedes. I was very excited.
I know.
And I hope to talk to you again someday. This was amazing.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun.